All right, we're live with King Kamali and Jason Arntz and fucking me.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? So I'm having a little bit of
Indulging.
Yeah, I'm drinking a little bit. I was just sipping on wild turkey, and I was like, all right, let me stop.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, let me.
You going down my street there, man? I'm a whiskey guy. Come on, I'm Persian.
Yeah, and I just picked the cheap shit, and because today's my birthday.
Well, happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday, dude.
Thank you very much.
We were just out celebrating my daughter's birthday. She's hers in 2 days.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
I'm an old fuck.
No such thing, brother.
So Jay, look what I figured out how to do. Look at this.
What am I looking at? Oh.
Yeah. Can you see that?
Oh, shit, there you go.
Yeah. Okay,
Good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah. So this is going to be the new sponsor. Except I ain't making no fucking money, but that's okay. So I Prevail Subs. If you whatever supplements you use suck, so just use I Prevail Subs, and it'll be a lot better.
That's it.
That's all.
Supplements of a king.
Yeah, that's as pretty much as we're gonna go. I use the Rogue, this one, the High Stem Rogue Pro.
Yeah, you're brave.
The Rogue PW, and that after you go to the gym, you come home and you could build a fortress and do your bills and do all kinds of shit. Run on the treadmill. All right, let's stop the share and go back to normal. Okay, here we go. All right, what do we got? There's people already commenting. King, you bring a lot of. Jay has the best products. There we go.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, Jay says, "What's up, King?"
What up?
Jay says, "What's up, John?" Me, I'm with two legends, and me. What's up? And T2 and okay, cool. All right, so there's no shows coming up soon, so I was like, all right, what are we gonna talk about? So I figured, I don't know, is it me? Does nobody know how to spot anymore in the gym? Because when I always, we're all in the age. I mean, you guys are in a different bracket than I am, but when I was a kid, there was nothing but hardcore gyms, right? You might have had the golds here or there, but for the most part, they were hole in the wall gyms. You guys, Jay had Diamond and I had Pump and Iron, and everybody knew how to spot. Now, if you go to Retro or fucking New York Sports Club, it's impossible to find a good spot. God forbid you got to go heavy. It's unbelievable. And the worst is when you're doing shoulder presses and they're standing in front of you. Like, dude, do you know how to spot? Because you got to get behind me. I don't know. Or the scared spot. Do you ever see the scared spot? The guy's face is all nervous and shit. Like, what are you fucking doing?
I see guys training that don't have a spot, and I'm nervous watching them, and I'm just keeping an eye on them because in case I got to run over and pull this thing off his sternum, to save him and perform some sort of life-saving technique. I've seen some. To be honest, I don't see a lot of guys. I mean, I go early. I train in the morning, but I don't see a lot of guys even training that hard where they're going to failure where they're requiring a spot. And I train at a semi-decent hardcore gym, out in Jersey still. It's a powerhouse in Saraville. It's one of Maz's gyms. So you get competitors in there.
Right.
But now I don't know if it's a different training philosophy that they're doing or what they're doing, but I don't see a lot of forced reps or beyond failure type training. I'm sure King, he knows what I'm talking about, that we used to do. And,
yeah. What do you think, King? You could comment on both of that. Shitty spots and people don't work out like they did in the 80s, 90s.
Well, I have to agree with Jason. I train in the mornings now because I like to get it over with and just spend the rest of the day eating because I like to rest and go to the cigar lounge at night. I've become hooked. I'm a total stogie guy now. I like to go to my lounge. It's the greatest thing in the world because I just sit down and I listen to mobsters all night long talking about, the stocks and bonds and all this business stuff. And I pick little things up from here and there. And that's my thing. But as far as the bodybuilding stuff goes, you can't compare to what you see nowadays. It's a completely different world. Everything is ass backwards. And heavy weights and what we used to go through. Listen, if I knew that Jason Arntz was going to be in the show, I know that I have to step up my conditioning. If I know that Ronnie Coleman's going to be in the show, we have to step up our size. I think what happened is, I've said this 1,000 times on a lot of podcasts, the internet changed everything. Everyone's an expert now. Everyone's a coach. Everyone knows what they're doing. Everybody follows. They'll see a video of Brett Wilkins and doing something crazy or insane in the gym. Yeah, he doesn't do that every time. Okay, let me get this straight to your head. That's not how bodybuilding works. You wreck yourself, yes, but then you gotta rest. I learned that shit from Ronnie when he used to come to DC to guest pose. I was expecting Ronnie to deadlift 8,000 pounds, and he said, "Hey, are you crazy? I'm guest posing tomorrow. I'm not doing that shit. Are you crazy?" He just did a couple of things and get the stimulating and not to annihilate. But as far as what's happening right now, bro, it's a world of difference, man.
I just think it's like, when I was a kid, I used to live in Brooklyn, and then there was Ferrigno's gym, and then there was Fifth Avenue gym, but we were closer to Ferrigno's, and then there was Bath Beach gym, but that was like, if you wanted to get beat up, you went over there. But yeah, and then I moved to Staten Island when I was in high school, and I went to there was a Ferrigno's gym in Staten Island too, and then Pump and Iron opened, so everybody went to Pump and Iron. But of course, there was a Gold's gym, and only but it was like the guys in there only knew how to work out one way, and they taught you, and they were the old school guys, and they went balls to the wall, and they taught you how to squat, and they taught you how to deadlift, and they taught you how to spot, even in high school. And you go to the retros now, or the LA Fitnesses, or New York Sports Clubs, or whatever. My wife goes to my wife goes to, what's the purple gym?
Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness. Dear God, yeah.
That's not a gym, man.
No, it really is. I went with it once. I was like, this is ridiculous. And it's nobody can spot. Nobody can spot. It's unbelievable. And because I'm like, again, I'm not you guys, but I'm 46 now, and I'm like the OG in the gym. If I see like young kids like really fucking it up, like I'll show them. I'll be like, listen, dude, hit. Do this, do that. You're not doing it right. I mean, because they don't even have the basics down.
You can't tell.
Actually, believe it or not, the young guys that I've confronted, and they're appreciative.
It's what I see is, and look, this kind of goes in context with what's going on as a society. Everybody wants something quick. Nobody wants to put the work in. These beginners, they're jumping steps.
Yes.
We really used to start as basic. I started as a basic bodybuilder for years. You build a foundation, then you develop into a certain style of training that comes next, and then so forth and so forth. These guys are doing advanced training programs.
Yes, I agree.
And stepping over all the basic fundamentals that really give you the foundation of a physique that takes years to acquire. And everybody's in a rush. Look, I make a high stim pre-workout. I don't even fucking take that shit. But these kids, and I used to get getting jacked up before I trained because, I trained hard. I trained my ass off. I trained until I used to throw up on a shoulder day, we did it right, and sometimes you need that extra push, but you develop into it. Now you have guys that are barely bench pressing 150 pounds that are taking these high stimulant pre-workouts that are really designed for people that have systematically, shut their adrenal glands down a little bit. Now they need, they become dose dependent. So now they got to step it up. These guys are starting with that, where my pre-workout used to be one of the strongest ones. Now it's like up to here compared to some of the other ones, but people don't want to put the time in. They're doing, Hunter Labrada's training cycle, and they've been training for a year.
Yeah, they could run before they could crawl. I see that too. They're doing a lot of angles too. They don't know how to deadlift or bench press yet, but they're doing all these. They get on the leg press and they're doing one leg at a time on the side, and and it's like, dude, you got to get the basics. And I'm talking like young kids, like 17, because I see a lot of young kids because I get out of work. If I don't work overtime, I get out of work at 3:00. So that's when high school gets out. So majority of the time, that's why I make my podcasts like so late, because I go to the gym right after work. So I see a lot of high school kids, and I see a lot of kids, like college kids, right? And then I wind up like showing the only people I don't show are girls. Like if you're a girl, you're on your own because I don't want to get me too. Fuck that shit. You're on your own. That's not happening. Yeah, it's just like that. Nobody's showing them, and you would think that YouTube they would Google it or YouTube it, but nobody's showing them, and then just I could see them about to get hurt.
Well, I think I agree. However, there are people showing them, but they're showing them what they do now. They're showing them what they do in prep for an Olympia. They're doing what Nick Walker does when these guys haven't stepped on a regional level stage yet. So they're listening. They're just listening in not the best chronological order.
King, what was the worst? What was the weirdest or worst thing you've seen in the gym as far as form or somebody screwing something up? Or
it happened today. Actually,
all right.
It was today when I finished doing my dumbbell flies for chest, and I was looking to go to a Smith machine, to the incline Smith machine. And one of the Smith machines was taken, and one of them was open. As I was walking to it, I see this girl through her bag, claiming it as hers. And I looked at her and I said,
pinball?
Are you going to use it? She goes, yes. I said, okay. All right. So I waited a little bit and I went around the corner. And this drives me fucking insane. She brought 5 pads, 5 mats, those foamy mats, and started doing hip thrusts with 3 plates on each side, and 5 rubber bands wrapped around her leg, 2 rubber bands wrapped to the top, to the bottom. Here's her ass. This is her ass.
Yeah.
Flat as a fucking cardboard.
Right.
And I'm looking at her, and I wanted to go up to her and say, you need to squat. What the hell are you doing? What they do is they see these things on the internet. They see these pro girls or these Brazilians with these gigantic asses getting in there and doing these hip thrusts, and they think that that's how they build their asses. That's what drives me more insane than anything else, is they don't understand what Jason just said. You have to pay your dues with the basics first. You got to go through A, B, C before you get to Z. And they're just trying to jump from here to here. And what happens is, unfortunately, they're not only doing that with the workouts, but they're doing that with everything. They're doing that with the drugs. They're doing that with the supplements. That's why these kids are dying. Yeah. That's why everyone's dropping dead, because they're not paying the dues. They're not sitting there saying, okay, I just did this. Let me go to here now. Let me go to this next step. Thank God I had someone like a Chad Nichols to turn around and tell me after I got my pro card, you're not ready. That's the first thing he said to me at Planet High. Jason was there. He was at the dinner with us. And Chad turned around and said, you're not ready. You need 2 years to put on another 10 to 20 pounds of solid muscle if you're going to stand next to a Cormier, or you're going to stand next to a Ronnie, or you're going to stand next to a Delay. They'll smoke you. They'll eat you alive. That's when I said, okay, you got it. I'm going to go into hiding. And then I said, but how am I going to pay my bills? And thank God again for Chad and Kim, who talked to Weeder, and I got a contract, and I was able to train, eat, and sleep without having to go get a 9-to-5 job. That's the way we used to do it.
That you were very lucky that you were able to get that contract, because otherwise you'd be like certain bodybuilders that were having sex with fruit.
Listen, putting all bullshit aside, because you got Jason and you got the King now. We're not gonna sugarcoat anything. We're gonna tell you the truth. That shit happened. That shit was. You did what you had to do to make it.
There was 2 ways to make money. You were either selling drugs, or you're doing that kind of shit. You know what I did.
Yeah,
it was public.
There's no way around it until you can find yourself. Listen, you gotta take what you have, and you gotta take it to the next level. I was blessed, knock on wood, that I'm a Persian guy, and when we stay with I could still move in back with my parents if I wanted to, and they wouldn't. Oh, come on, baby. That's how we are. That's our culture. It's everything. But I got lucky. I was around the right people at the right time, and I listened, which was the most important thing. I didn't want to sit there and say, hey, I this, and I just got my pro card. I'm going to step on stage, and I would have got my ass kicked. So I waited, and I listened, and I paid my dues.
Speaking of, this guy writes, Michael Marcano writes, then they buy a cycle of gear right as they join Planet Fitness. A lot of people on social media talk about these guys take too much. They take too much. They take certain amounts. I run into a lot of people that are like, they're taking nothing. Like they're taking something, but they're taking like, they'll be taking like 30 grams of Anavar, and that's it. and they'll ask me, not that I'm like, not that I'm anything special, but because I'm the OG in the gym, because I'm an old man, they'll ask me, what do you think if I take Anavar? I'm taking 30 milligrams a day. I'm taking 20 milligrams a day. I'm like, dude, my fucking wife takes 20 milligrams of Anavar a day. I'm like, I don't know what what do you expect to do here? And they don't want to inject themselves. And I try to tell them, I say, look, nobody's putting a gun to your head, man. Like, if you want to train natural, train natural. But if you want to, jump on the dark side, then do your research and do it right. It's you have YouTube. You could ask me. There's plenty of other guys you could talk to. But they're so afraid. They're so afraid.
I usually hear more guys that are taking more shit.
Yeah, it's probably because I'm not in the same position as you guys.
Believe it or not, the times I hear guys that are taking less are guys my age that have done it all, that are doing some sort of or some form of replacement therapy, and
That's
they're getting a low dose in just to keep them feeling good. Who knows even if they have low T levels, but it's just to feel good now. It's like and look, most people need it. It's after a certain age, most people need it. But I hear more the other side where, hey, can I run my cycle by you? And I'm listening like, holy shit, dude. Like, yeah. and some of it, the way it's constructed, I don't know if they realize how these things work in your body. Or the receptor sites that they bond to, but they're using 3 or 4 different compounds that all hit the same receptor site. They're running to flush each other out, So I don't even know who's some of these coaches that are putting together these programs haven't been around long enough, or they haven't done it themselves to really know any better. So there's a lot of bad advice out there. There's a lot of bad information, and like I said, everybody's so quick. They're doing national pro level cycles. I mean, I didn't try GH until I was even on a national level. There was just a process that we did before hey, if we're going to take this risk and do this, let's make sure we have something first. Let's make sure we can make a stand. Hey, I did good at this show. I could step it up a notch. You do good at this show, you get to a national level. All right, now we're talking. If I can make top 5 international level, then we'll push it. Then it's hoping to turn pro, and then it's to see how you do at a pro show, and then you push a little further. But it's risk and reward. These guys are putting all this risk in, for a local regional show. But the crazy thing is, everybody else on stage is doing it too. So it's like they're all fighting, they're all swimming in the same water.
Yeah, I'm probably more talking to the guys, the bro guys in the gym that don't compete and just work out and kind of do chest and buys every day. And they're like, yeah, I want to do Anavar. And you guys are like training people, and you're going, take it easy. You don't need 4,000 milligrams a week, so on and so forth. But Jay, you want to hear something funny? King, you were, I was a kid when Jay had turned pro, and I think you were already pro. Who turned pro first? Jay
did.
Jay did.
So you were the next year though, King, right?
Yeah, you were 98. I was 99.
Yeah.
So there were 3 guys in New York and New Jersey area that everybody was talking about back then. And it was Jason Arntz, Vinny Galante, and Dave Palumbo, because they were all from the area, And for some reason, Jay, everybody knew or thought they knew your cycle for some fucking reason. I don't know. I remember the first show I did was the Mr. Staten Island, and I was 23 years old, and you were the guest poser. Right. And Joe Baggs, rest in so he died. He was a local bodybuilder, he was a monster too. He says, "Oh, let's go backstage and see Jay pump up." I'm like, "All right, let's go." And he whispers in my ear. I remember like it was yesterday. Whispers in my ear. He goes, "Yo, 10 pins a day." And I was like, "Really? How do you know?" And he's like, "Believe me." Believe me, yeah. I know. Okay, because he was that typical Italian, knows everything kind of.
Right. And I did needlepoint. He didn't realize I did. Open the needlepoint.
And it was just like, all right, I guess I don't know if it was like justification why they weren't pro or whatever the case was, but it is what it is.
Let me say something here. I think Jason will agree to this. He will attest to this. The most amount of growth hormone I've ever taken in my life will be 10 IUs a day. And that was for maybe 8 to 10 weeks before a big show, what have you. I know guys right now, like you were just saying right now, that you deal with, biceps and chest guys. I still talk to top top guys all over the world.
Mhm.
They call me, they contact me, they ask me for advice, and because they know I'm going to tell them the truth. And the cycles that they're running now are, I would say, 3 times what we used to take.
Yeah.
What do you say, Jay?
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, I think the most I did was 8 IUs. I might have dabbled close to 10 for a short period of time, but I never noticed more than doing 6 to 8. And I know guys that, that were doing a bottle of Serostim, which was, I believe, 18 a day.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes no sense to me, and I'll tell you why. Because when I took Humatrope, Jay knows what Humatrope is. They don't have that shit.
Eli Lilly.
Yeah. When we took Humatrope, you had to stop because you'd be doing this all day long and you can't feel your hands and it was uncomfortable and your feet fall. So you had to pull back a little bit and not take it for a few days.
Right.
That's about, like Jay said, anywhere between 7 to 10 IUs. Right now, I can tell you for a fact, because I've seen the cycles with my own eyes, they're doing 30 to 40 IUs a day.
Holy shit.
Hold on. And on top of that, they're doing about 60 to 80 to sometimes 100 units of insulin a day.
Holy shit.
That is why they look the way that is why the physiques are retardedly full and spongy without that. Because remember, Dexter said it best when they said, Dexter, you're the last of the shredded guys from the 90s and stuff. And Dexter was like, I can still do that, but they're not rewarding. They don't want the sucked in look.
Right.
They want that super, super, super full look. Now, what happened at the Olympia last year? One guy showed up with that sucked in look and he wrecked it. Hottie. He's the only guy that came with that 90s Arntz, Flex, Kevin type of conditioning that we used to come in, faces sucked in, suffering backstage, dying of dehydration. Nobody, and he's the only one that came with that, and he made everybody look off.
Right.
They don't do that no more. And
he does come in chiseled, though.
30 to 40 IUs of growth a day with 100 units, 10 units. I mean, I see it all the time. It's not just that, it's the kids too. I don't know if you see it in your gyms, but I see these kids walking around with these gallon jugs, all different types of colors. They'll do 2 sets, walk to the bathroom, come back 5 minutes later. What do you think they're doing in the bathroom? They're hitting the insulin, loading back up with glycogen, and coming back out. I love them. I love Milos to death, but that's the Milos insulin protocol that they're following.
Well, okay. Yeah, in my gym.
And it did wonders for what's his name? What's the kid's name that he helps?
Regan Grimes?
It didn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
You know, if it worked and Regan came back and he blew everybody out of the water, you would say to yourself, yeah. Or even Brett Wilkins. I watched his videos and he documented everything perfectly and this and this and this and this. He came in looking terrible at the fucking Arnold.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're getting better. That's the problem. Think about that, kids. You're not getting better.
Yeah, Milos also helps, which is weird, but I don't know. Milos also helps Samson Dowda, and he looked amazing. You know, Brett's not with the Milos. Brett's with
Matt Jensen.
Matt Jensen, right? But you're right about Regan Grimes. He was a little bit of a disappointment. You know, he's still a young dude, and he's got plenty of time to figure it out.
I had high hopes for him. We were talking about him.
Yeah, we did a preview beforehand, but I get a lot of bro chat, a lot of really strange advice. I guess because I'm like I'm not an elite bodybuilder or trainer like you guys. I'm a sewer worker and a YouTuber. So I get like the bottom of the barrel guys, I get the regular everyday knock around guys, and they're talking about like, dude, I can't take Deca because if I take Deca, my dick won't work, or one kid told me, dude,
well, they could take 9 cc's of Tren a week.
Yeah. Then another kid told me, dude, I want to take Tren, but I heard when you inject it, you pass out and people are waking up with syringes in their arms. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking to? Because the thing is, like, I get my information from Jay or Vinny Galante or Dave Palumbo, right? Because I have the platform now. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I shut up and I listen. But then I'm talking to the dumbass at like, Retro Fitness in Belleville, New Jersey. And
hey man, I train at Retro Fitness. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I've also been kicked out of 5 or 6 gyms. So
why were you kicked out?
Yeah, I've been banned from Powerhouse here. I've been banned from a few gyms around here. Well, one of them because different reasons. I'm very open with this. One of them, I'm not a mask guy. I couldn't do it. I tried a couple times. And I couldn't do the whole mask thing. So that's one of them. The other one was the owner of the gym thought that I was banging his wife. That's another one I got kicked out with.
Were you? Come on, tell the truth.
I was not. No, I wasn't.
Really?
No, I would say it if I was. I wasn't. And then, just like, again, just grunting and training heavy and scaring people. And then nowadays, all it takes is one old lady to go up to the front desk and say, he's doing this and that. And I don't play that anymore. So I just say, okay, thank you. It was great working out. I'll go to the next one. So I found Retro here. The manager's great. Ashley, she lets me do whatever the fuck I want to do. So I'll stay there.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Even though there's people at Retro that I go to 2 gyms. I go to Signature and I go to Retro. And the reason why I go to Retro is because you join one, you go to any one of them. And my mother still lives in New York. So when I go visit her, I could just go to the Retro over there. But yeah, honestly, they don't bother you. Like at my wife's gym, forget it, it's impossible. But at Retro, they don't bother. As long as you're basically being, courteous, you could work out, squat heavy, deadlift, grunt. They don't care. I don't know. I never had a problem at Retro.
Grunt, fart, whatever you need to do. It's the planet that hits those lung alarms.
Yeah, Jay, are we allowed to talk about your background and when you got thrown out of gyms, or we're not allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. that was just once.
Just one time.
It's Jason Arntz, man. He can do it. He's going to tell you what the real.
Yeah, that was the one in Staten Island, and that was an interesting time.
Staten Island is about 20 miles long, and when I moved to Brooklyn, every Italian family from Brooklyn either moved to Staten Island or moved to Long Island when they left, Brooklyn. And I moved to Staten Island, and it's 20 miles long, and everybody knows everything about everything, apparently, right? And when Jay got thrown out of, can I say the gym? It's not around anymore.
I don't think it's around anymore, right?
Yeah, no, it actually closed fucking a month later after you left.
There was other stuff going on there that was.
When Jay got thrown out of Johnny Latz, everybody knew, all of Staten Island knew, and then there were other rumors floating around about you. I'm not going to say, but there was other rumors floating around that you were trying to get into other gyms, and owners weren't letting you into the other gyms because of the reasons why you got thrown out of Johnny Latz. Yeah. But again, this is what, 25 years ago we're talking about?
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah. That was a long time
Better
ago.
Times, man. There was actually a thing called IFBB Pro Courtesy.
That's true. Yes.
If you were a professional bodybuilder,
you could go to any gym
and train. Go to any gym and train for free.
Yeah, that was around for a while, and they extended that to me at Johnny's. But to be honest, I don't know what the rumors were. I know what happened there, with when I was asked to leave. But there was a few other things going on. But to be honest, I was in a dark time. I was going through my divorce. I had legal issues going on. I was involved with some people that I should not have been involved with, doing a lot of things that I should not have been doing. And I don't know if I even tried to get in any other gyms after that, because I was already living back in New Jersey, but I was training so many people there that I was commuting every day. I might have had a couple clients I tried to train at other gyms there, which maybe that was the story. But I immediately went back to New Jersey and started training there. But believe it or not, leaving Staten Island was probably the best thing that ever happened. But I might not be here if I was still doing things I was doing back then.
I don't blame you. All right, let's change course, because this is a topic I want to talk about. I never got past a local bodybuilding show. I never really had the best genetics, and nor did I really want to eat 10,000 calories a day. But anyway, talking to a regular dude, what's it like when you're a top pro, and let's say you're married or you got a girlfriend or whatever, and you gotta, you have an endorsement and you have to travel, you got to go to the Olympia, you got to go to the Arnold Classic or whatever, and the girls. How would the girls respond or react to top pros like King when you were at your elite level, or Jay, when you were at the elite level? What was it like with the women around you?
Groupies.
Yeah.
There were groupies.
Yeah.
Look, man, Jason wasn't the go to the clubs and get cracked out till 7 o'clock in the morning type of guy.
Right.
I was. Okay. I did that. And I'll tell you right now, I will not change 1 minute of how much fun I had with Victor, with Cormier, with Dorian, and Vegas stories. You know, I keep telling my mom keeps telling me to write the goddamn book. And I'm like,
yeah, you should.
I wouldn't mention names because I don't want to fuck people up, but I had a lot of fun, man. I had a ton of fun. And yes, there were groupies. They throw themselves at you. And without getting into too many details, there's nothing that you can say that I didn't do. Mm-hmm. Everything. You can just imagine everything you can possibly do. Yeah, I did it all and I had fun. But I wouldn't trade 1 minute from all the good stuff.
I want fucking groupies, man. I never had groupies.
It wasn't much of a like you said, I didn't go out. I didn't dabble in the nightlife. I was always a little more grounded, and to be honest, like, you know, the situations were different. I was on my own. You know, I've been on my own since I was a kid. You know, so I had, you know, even when I was doing illegal shit, I still had responsibilities and had to earn a living, doing whatever I had to do to earn a living. But even in my pro career, I was married the first time. That was a disaster, and moved on from that. And then during my Olympia years, I was remarried again and had my first daughter, my first Olympia. So it was a different time for me. But, you know, going to the guest posings or the events, and yeah, they make it tough on you. They certainly, temptation makes it tough on you.
I never had that problem. Fuck.
Yeah.
It was all what you got to realize, it was the promoters. They want to make sure that you have a good time.
Taken care of, right?
Each promoter likes to outdo the other one.
Yeah.
You know, so they like, oh yeah, you did this, and then now you got to do that, and oh, then let's do this and that. I mean, I tell people all the time, and you'd be surprised if people ask me what city was the most fun and the craziest time? Vegas, Miami, and I'm like, no. Colorado and Seattle. You know? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I can't even begin to explain to you the carnage that I experienced in Seattle. You know, and Quincy was there. Sean Ray, my buddy, he was there. Who else was there? Dennis James was there. I mean, they're witnesses to this shit of the stuff that I saw. And it's not Vegas is great in Miami, but some of the shit that I saw in fucking Colorado and Seattle and Tennessee, you know, it's just nuts. But
give us an example, one little example. When you say things, what do you think? What is it?
In Seattle, I ended up, after guest posing at the Emerald Cup, I ended up at a private mansion up some fucking mountain where they had bodyguards and blacked out windows, and you know, they had a fucking gangbang room, and they had a coke room, and shit that you only see in a fucking movie. And all I remember, I'm not going to tell you everything, that's going to be in the book, but all I remember is sitting on the couch, and Quincy Taylor's sitting right next to me, big fucking Quincy. He's got his hand like this, and he's just looking. He goes, "Yo, King." And I look at him, I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "White people party like this?" I looked at him, I said, no, not all white people, man. This is an exception to the rule. You know, I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, I have no reason to tell you anything other than when I'm being dead serious when I say a gangbang room, when I say a coke room. They even had a pimp and hoe, a naked girl diving off the 3-meter board for 5. There was an Asian guy there who was a multi-millionaire. Apparently, his family owned the biggest shipping company out of China. The kid was a billionaire. Jesus. And he was standing there with 2 bodyguards and an Adidas bag, and in that Adidas bag was full of cash. And all he did was tell people to do stupid things and give them cash. And he made this girl sit in a bucket of ice for 10 minutes, and she was crying. Then he gave her like $1,000. He made one girl do a back dive off the 3-meter board, smack herself. He gave her $1,000. That's the kind of shit that I was seeing him doing when I was at the peak of my career.
I was the guy freezing my ass off on the line trying to get into like Club Abyss. You guys
But you have to
suck.
also understand, we partied hard myself. I partied my ass off, but when it was time, 16 weeks out, 4 months out, I had that ability. I still have it to this day, and I still use it in my life. I actually made a post about that on Instagram the other day. I have the ability to turn things off immediately. It doesn't. I can shut things down and go completely opposite direction and never look back again. So that was a very good, what should we call it, that I had, an ability to have that. It was a skill that I had that I can still use to these days. So when it was time for us to back and go for it, I did. So it wasn't all parties.
Well, I mean, that's what you did for a living. You didn't have much of a choice either. But I guess a lot of guys did, right? I mean, Cormier had a bad reputation like that.
Yeah, Cormier's not human.
Yeah.
He's not human. If Chris is living a straight life and he's going to church, he's the worst bodybuilder on the planet. If Chris has 5 girls in his room and they're fighting each other and the cops are knocking on the door, he'll win the fucking Arnold Classic. He needs drama in his life to be Chris. And that's just how he is,
Yeah. Man, hopefully maybe I can get to like 5,000 fucking subscribers on here and maybe I'll get a groupie or two. So this guy asked Alice, whatever, asked King, do you think Kevin Levrone was robbed of winning at least one Olympia?
Well, that's a good question.
I think his second Olympia, maybe.
Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe his second year, but I never got to see Dorian up close on stage. And that was Kevin and Flex's time, and those when Dorian was there. And from what I heard from the people who were there, they're like, you have to see Dorian in person. Yeah. Because it was a different look. It was his graininess was next level shit compared to these guys. But again, you can't judge people and you can't judge competitions from magazines because that's what we had. We didn't have the internet like that. So I don't know, man. Maybe, like Jason said, maybe one.
And I saw a couple of them, and you're right. Dorian didn't photograph well.
Right.
You'd see pictures of him like, holy shit, like this guy, not that he wasn't impressive in pictures, but his flaws showed more in pictures, where when you saw him on stage, dialed in, dry, he was breathtaking, because there was nothing at that time that was ever achieved at that level, so he just blew you away because you were overwhelmed on his density, his conditioning, and dude, you could tell, dude, he was all business.
Yeah,
he was all business.
I heard a story about Dorian backstage from a very good source that he was limping at that one Olympia that he absolutely fucking blew everybody out of the water. I think it was his third Olympia, and he was limping backstage. And when they asked him why, he said, "There's no fat on my foot pads under my feet."
Yes, I've heard that.
And he said it hurts to walk. Now, when you hear shit like that, that's when people like us and Jason, we like, fuck, we got to take it to the next level.
Right.
Yeah. We got to take it to the next level.
I remember I couldn't sit down too long because your tailbone starts hurting. There was no cushion.
Well, again, going back to what I said earlier, when you knew Jason was going to be in the show, you got to step up your fucking conditioning.
Thank you.
Had to be fucking conditioned. I mean, Gaspari started it, and then guys like Jason came along and he took it to the next level, and there'll be another guy to take it to the next level. Right now, it's Hadi. If Hadi's going to be in the show, we got to step it up.
What about Dorian's last Olympia when everybody thought NASA really should have won?
Again, I wasn't there.
All right.
Yeah, he had the injuries. It's still Dorian, The
thing is, though, would they have given it to Nasser? Because he wasn't a very likable guy.
I don't know.
Especially back then with Weider and Control, it kind of seemed to happen a lot. Where
Nasser was a good friend of mine, and I miss him a lot, and we talked a lot. And yes, he was angry to a certain point, but because he thought that he deserved a little bit more accolades and this and that and what have you. And when you have, I say this all the time, Nasser was an intellect, spoke like 6 languages and stuff like that.
Really?
I firmly believe that when you're that smart, bodybuilding is a detriment to your life. The dumber you are, the better bodybuilder you will be. That's what I believe.
All right.
How many times, Jason? How many times? And I hope to God people watch this and this blows up and everybody sees it. How many times did you know something was wrong inside, but you're like, I don't want to know what it is?
Right.
I said it many, many times. I don't want to know what it is. I don't know what it is. When they drug tested us in 2001 for the Olympia.
Yeah.
And I'm standing backstage, and this fucking guy, after prejudging, is standing right there watching me with my schlong out, pee into this cup. I stood there for 10 minutes. Marcus Rule was right. He couldn't piss either. So I'm like, dude, nothing's coming out. He goes, Kings, you got to give me anything, something. So I waited and waited, and then something came out that resembled, I'm telling you, something came out that resembled honey. It had the texture of honey. And it was sappy. And he looked at it, and he goes, what the fuck is that? I said, I have no idea, man.
Okay, I'll take it. Okay.
Yeah, and he took it and he left. Shit. And I immediately found Chad, and he goes, "Yeah, you need to go see a doctor after this whole thing is."
You think?
And that was and thank God nothing was fucking that wrong. Knock on wood. But I just didn't want to know. I don't want to know what's wrong with me.
I'll find out after, or at least after, not at this time, right?
Yeah.
Were there bodybuilders in the '90s that you said call me drama? Were there bodybuilders in the '90s that didn't have to put the work in and showed up and still won or still broke the top 5, and you're like, God damn, this is a fucking thing, or did half what I did, and he's still taking it home?
Yeah, Kevin, Flex,
right?
Those Paul Dillette,
that West Coast
mutants, yeah,
the West Coast training style.
Yeah, Lee Priest, all those guys that trained on the West Coast. They were just genetic. That group of guys in the '90s that were out there, they were cartoon characters.
Yeah.
And we're here on the East Coast. That's where that whole East Coast West goes. Now we're here in the East Coast saying, all right, motherfuckers, you're out there tanning and walking around, and we got fucking -2 degrees outside, and we got to slide on. We're going to outwork your asses. And we did. We started to fucking outwork them, and we started to pass them. And then that's when the East started to take over. And I think right now
they didn't squat. They didn't do heavy deadlift or rows, or it was all machines. It was all machine type style training. And the thing is, here we are doing the opposite shit on the East Coast, because we only know, look, if it ain't hard, then you're not working. If you're not killing yourself, you're not working. But for a while, that style was working for them, and it was rewarding them. So like, are we doing something wrong? So you might give it a try for a few weeks. I can't fucking adjust to this. And you go back to what you're doing. And then the East Coast kind of took over, because that took its, played its course. And it kind of just got burnt out. And some of these guys started stepping it up on the West Coast to emulate what the look was coming from the East.
We did the Muscle Tech photo shoot in Canada for that DVD that they were handing out at the GNCs. I don't know if you remember that DVD or not. We did a whole video series. They flew us all up there. And two of the days they took us to the gym. And then you got to be the fucking gym owner. Here it's, Jay Cutler, Kevin Lebroni, King Kamali, Chris Cormier. Here we are, all the Muscle Tech athletes walking to this guy's gym, and he was like, holy shit, this and that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to show these guys this and that. Jay, normal workout. Chris, normal. And here I am front squatting 405 pounds. And Jay comes up to me, he goes, you train like this all the time? I'm like, yeah. I said, you don't? He goes, hell no.
Wow.
He goes, no, absolutely not. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, and I'm not training hard enough because I'm on the East Coast.
Right.
I remember there was a guy that came to Diamond and he wanted to train with me. So we're going through a workout, and he goes to my partner on the side. He's like, is he just doing this like to prove he could beat me up? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, I don't train like this.
Yeah.
I said, dude, he trains like this every fucking day, every day.
Yeah, a lot of people, look, I think there are gifted guys, and then there are what I like to refer to as the blue collar bodybuilders, the guys that got to put in the fucking work, in order to get to where they are. And one of the reasons why I think you're such a good coach is because everything. When you're a gifted bodybuilder or a gifted athlete in general, you don't have to learn all the rules and angles and tricks and do this and do that. But when you are a blue collar, what I refer to as a blue collar bodybuilder, and you have to put in the work to get to be on that top level because you're not as gifted as the next guy, you tend to become a better trainer because now you have all this education from all your experience. And I think that
you have to tell them the truth. That's the best way. Those are the best coaches. I shouldn't even say this, but you know how many fucking girls contact me because I work with a lot of females. You know why? Because I'm patient, and that has spread. That the reputation has spread. Oh, King's patient. He'll listen to you. I'll listen to their problems with their husbands and their boyfriends, and they'll cry to me, and they'll call, hey, we need carbs. You know, I'll listen to that. Okay, but I can't tell you how many girls contact me so I can fix what other people have done to them. And I would say conservatively, 70% of the girls that are competitive girls that are contacting me are taking tests. Now,
Really?
that is, to me, that is, I can't even, I mean, I say to them, I'm like, what made you take tests? She goes, well, my ex-coach told me that I need to take test probe to harden up. I'm like, you know, a Proviron would have done the same fucking thing. What are you fucking doing, you know?
There's too many gurus out there, man.
Yeah.
Test for girls? God.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's just, I mean, listen, I don't know as much as you guys, but as far as girls go, I mean, you know, Anavar and Winnie, I mean, that's about it. I mean, if you can get real Primo Bowling, maybe, but other than that, I mean,
I don't even tell them to take Winnie because Winnie makes them look like this.
Well, Winnie's a DHT, and I don't think some of these coaches realize what a DHT is, but it's dihydrotestosterone, which makes it a little more powerful than testosterone. You're better off giving them test, which you don't do anyway, than giving them a dihydrotestosterone. You know, but they hear Winnie and Primo, and they think they're safe, but they don't realize these are chemical compounds that bond to the DHT receptor site, so they affect your body differently. I'm not saying this to condone it, but girls that I know and I've ever worked with, Anavar, Clen, and GH. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anavar is the one anabolic that doesn't bond to any one of the 3 steroid receptor sites. It's just a pure, clean anabolic agent. It's toxic when you take it in a low milligram doses. However, when you start taking 50 to 100 mgs of Anavar a day, you're going to experience some toxicity to it. So don't think that Anavar's, you know, that you're out of the woods with that if you're abusing it. But
I got a great drug story to tell you. It just popped in my. Jason's gonna love this one. I was in Australia, and we just finished prejudging, and we went back. You know, we came back to the night show. We're all laying down, and we're with our wives and girlfriends. Everybody starts talking, and then there's this top professional. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's sitting next to me, and he goes, "Hey, King, how much D-ball you do?" And I said, I've never done more than 100 milligrams. He goes, huh? I said, 100 milligrams. 100? I'm like, yeah, 100 milligrams. Why? I said, how much do you take? And this is exactly how he responded. He goes, about this much.
Yeah, you told that story when I interviewed you. Yeah,
I swear, and I looked at him, I was like, huh? He goes, this much. So I grabbed his wife, and I said, yo, what does he mean? She goes, oh, he waved with his hand, and then he takes.
Holy shit.
So it's not even, fuck with the milligram shit aside. You weigh it with your hand. If it feels right, you know, you just pop it up.
Jesus Christ.
Based upon body weight, right? It's like a food scale with your hand. This seems right.
Yeah, my God. I mean, you know, but it's a lot easier to get stuff out in the Middle East, right? And the stuff is potent, isn't it?
Straight from the pharmacy.
Wow. Probably cleaner than anything around here.
Straight.
Yeah,
when I went to Iran for 5-6 years ago, for the first time ever, I did a whole bunch of appearances all over the country. Every night, I said, take me to the pharmacy. They would take me to a 24-hour pharmacy. I would give them $5 American. 5. They would come back with a bottle of test, bottle of growth, bottle of this, some pills, about 20 Viagra, whatever I wanted. Okay? $5 American every fucking night.
Speaking of Viagra, Jay, did you see the interview of Sarah J?
I did not watch the whole thing. No.
Oh, you watched some of it?
Some of the highlights of it.
Which ones did you watch? I interviewed Sarah J. King. I don't know. You know who that is, right?
Sarah J. sounds like a porn star.
Yeah, you probably banged her.
She was at one of his after parties.
Sarah J. sounds like a porn name to me. So if I'm right, okay,
she's been porn for 20 years, yo. And some of the stories, she was so honest, dude. Like she was so honest. She told 2 stories where I literally almost threw up. Did you saw that one, Jay, where she said
I saw the one, about, wait, hold on.
the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to her?
Well, I forgot what it was.
So what happened was she apparently had signed a contract with a company that live streamed porn. So she was in Budapest filming something, right? So she's in Budapest filming, but it's live, and she's doing a threesome, and it's a 69. So she's on.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
she's on top of this other girl. There's 69, and there's a guy behind her banging her. And out of nowhere, I don't know how this happens. Out of nowhere, she has a period all over this girl's face.
Everywhere, blood everywhere.
There's blood everywhere, and it's live, dude. There's nothing they could do about it, except that they cut to another angle, and they had to go clean up real fast. And it's and the girl's like, oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. Meanwhile, she looked like a murder scene.
Yeah,
and it was
disgusting. That sounds like a Lee Priest story. It's
yeah.
disgusting.
And then she told another story that I put on my TikTok, but it's either you watch it on the TikTok or it's in the full interview. I said, what was the strangest fetish that you put in? And she goes, well, I'll tell you, but it wasn't in my work. It was in my private life. So I was like, all right. She said, I had a friend who I used to hang out with, and we should just fuck, and that was really it. And I went over his house, and he said to me, I've been saving my cum in a cup in a refrigerator, and I want you to feed it to me. And I was like, oh my God. And she goes, I said, did you do it? She goes, yeah, I did it. I was like, oh, dude, that is fucking disgusting. And I'm just like, holy shit. When I interview the porno chicks, I know I'm not. My wife says I'm disgusting. I'm not disgusting. I figured out that she only tells me I'm disgusting because she doesn't want to do the things I want her to do.
Yeah, they're on a whole new level.
Yeah. It's
a whole new level of raunchiness.
How do you get to that point? How does that turn you on? How is, you know what I mean?
Desensitized. They're doing this shit for so long, dude. It's what,
it's fucking wild.
They're so desensitized, absolutely. But at the same time, I was at Space back when Space used to be the club in Miami, and we were at the VIP section, and the table right next to us was a bunch of porn stars, and we got to talk to them. They're actually, when they're not acting, some of them are normal, man. They were just having. I mean, they're like, I don't even want to talk about that. I'm so interested in the bodybuilding world, and we talked in this. I talked nutrition, this and that. Nikki Benz and Jenna were there, and they were pretty fucking normal, man. I mean, they were not. I like Nikki nuts.
Benz. Nikki Benz is one.
She was actually very sweet, tiny little thing, very sweet.
I asked her if sex is still good in her private life, and she said, which you never think of. She said, sex is amazing in my private life because I don't have stress. I don't have to worry about the camera angle. I don't have to worry about the lighting. I don't have to worry about if this guy can get it up or not. If I have to pee, I just get up and go pee. There's no cut, stop, do that again. And I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. You just think that, a regular dude thinks that, oh, she has sex all day. She doesn't want to have sex at night,
Right.
Anyway, so this guy writes, King, in your prime, which bodybuilder or bodybuilders did you not like or you couldn't stand?
I thought you were going to go another route.
No, Craig was just fun to fuck with. I said the story 1,000 times. If you're on stage and doing a comparison with Craig, all you have to do is say bald, just one word, and he loses his fucking mind. He's like, God, I'll fucking kill you, motherfucker. Oh, I'll show you. And then you walk off stage and you're crying. It just took one word. One fucking word just to get under his skin. But,
didn't you call him fat once?
No, I distended. I think that's another word that he didn't like. Distended.
Dude, those were fun. Those were fun times, dude. There were some good feuds.
He did have a giant belly though. On his off season, his stomach was huge. I met him once at the 2000 Olympia, and I don't think he was doing the show, but he was, at the expo, and his stomach was on his lap.
I actually feel sorry for him, to be honest with you. Kelly, I do feel sorry for him, but it is what it is.
Yeah, Kelly especially, because she probably got roped into it, but she's in jail for life, right? I mean, there's no.
She's out.
Oh no, he is. He's in jail for life.
She's
right?
out.
But
she's
out.
Yeah. North Carolina. I think she goes to church every day.
Yeah, she's like a born again Christian or some shit, right? All right, the next question is 3 biggest assholes in the industry and the 3 biggest sweethearts. I don't know. It's up to you guys if you want to fucking answer that or not.
What do you mean sweethearts? Like nicest?
I guess so, yeah.
Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
You
take the good ones, I'll take the bad one. I'll be the bad guy. Good. You take the good ones.
The nicest dude, I gotta.
Oh, what do you freeze up?
Jose's in my top 3. Jose Raymond's in my top 3 of nice guys. Dude, even Craig Richardson. You know Craig.
Craig was. I met him once. He was a good dude.
And I don't mean to. This is just off the top of my head. Victor Martinez, dude. He's just. There's some guys that are just good, and there's some guys that have been around some bad stuff. And been in some compromising positions, but they're good guys, dude. We just did what we had to do, at a rough time in life, and there was a lot of good guys. And again, there was a lot of assholes too, but those are a good top 3 just to throw out there.
There's a good
Porter Cottrell. Who could say anything bad about Porter Cottrell?
Nope.
Dennis Newman, who had leukemia, he could have been, the poster boy for Mr. Olympias in his time. But I was good friends with Dennis, and when it hit him, but this is a guy that I don't think I ever heard him say a bad word about anybody.
Yeah.
Even when people would try to shit on him all the time, But Mike Francois, there were some good guys, dude.
I'll tell you,
the Barbarian Brothers.
Barbarian Brothers, holy shit, yeah.
So nice.
I'll tell you a guy that I don't like, and he's from Jersey. He never turned pro though, and I only met him a handful of times, and every time he wouldn't look at me in the face, he wouldn't shake my hand, and if I asked him a question or spoke to him, it was a one-word answer, and that's oh Jesus Christ, Phil Viz. Phil Viz, for some reason, I don't know if it's me or not that I'm nobody, but or if it's just him or if he's just a weirdo. But I had a friend that was using him as a trainer. He was competing. I said, "Oh, my friend Dom," and he's looking at the floor. He's like, "Oh yeah," and I'm just like, "Yeah, you're training him for such and such a show." He's like, "Yeah," I don't know. Jesus Christ, what a dick! The first time. The first time I met King, he knew my first name. I'm like, how the fuck do you know my name? That was the difference. And I always said, well, if I'm ever competing again, I know who I'm going with, right? I'm going with King. There's no way I'm gonna go with Phil Viz.
It also comes down to where you are and the situations, and I never knew Jason. I knew of him obviously, and until we competed against each other. And even at the 98 Nationals, when Jay turned pro, we at prejudging, we bumped elbows a little bit.
I was just about to say that. We were battling it on stage, and then I knew, this is the guy. If I got to beat anybody, it's this guy, dude, because you were sharp that year.
Yeah, I mean, and you take what you have and you go, and then what happened? Here's the guy who beat me, who came in there and got his pro card, and then a year later, he's in the audience. I'm looking at him, and he's telling me, stay hard, do this, and he's cheering me on. So people like Jason come along once in a blue moon. Cormier is such a sweetheart, and I agree, Victor is such a sweetheart. I always go back to Sean Ray because that's who I experienced as being the biggest dick in the sport. And it always goes back to Sean. I'm not the only one who says that. Everybody says it. So it's
the funny thing is, I think I'm the only one that got along with Sean. I never had a problem, and I've heard all these stories. But I've always had good experiences with Sean, and maybe because I held him in a higher regard, because I used to look up to Sean when I was coming up in the sport, and I knew
we all did.
Yeah.
He was my. I'll be on. He was my favorite bodybuilder growing up. I'll never forget that picture. I'll never forget that picture of him leaning up against the Ferrari with no shirt on and his flat top, and I was like, damn, I'd be like a 15 years old looking at a magazine. It's like, oh, I want to look like that.
To this day, I still say he's one of the best 212 bodybuilders of all time.
Yeah. I mean, his posing routine when he won the Nationals, I mean, probably one of the greatest posing routines of all time is when he won, I believe it was 87 Nationals, Sean Ray's posing routine.
Yeah.
This guy says King.
King came along.
Say that again, Jay? What'd you say?
Phil King came along and took it to a new level.
Yeah, not for nothing. But yeah, no, that's another thing. And I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, King. My 2 favorite posers are you and Vince Taylor. Those are my those are my two favorite poses.
I was just having fun, man. I was a fan of bodybuilding. I'm a fan when everybody had their thing, and if they did it right, you enjoyed it, and you got something out of it. We knew if Jason's going to be up there, he's going to do Frank Sinatra. He's going to do something Jersey. He's going to get those classical poses in. I think he's the one who basically started the. I still to this day call it this Jason Arntz side tricep. That tricep shot is. I think he started it. I can't think of anybody else. The Labrada, maybe before him, but I think Jay started there. Then everybody started to call it the New Jersey side tricep. From Jason Arntz side tricep to New Jersey side tricep. But yeah, man. I mean, the posing for me was I just want to get out there and have fun and entertain the crowd. And for me, the highlight was the first Olympia when I got booed when they announced my name for the night show, and the expediter who didn't know shit about bodybuilding said, they're booing you, man. And I looked at him and I said, I'll be back in 5 minutes to standing ovation. And I did. And he looked at me when I walked off stage. And he goes, I have never seen someone get booed and then get an ovation the way that you did. I'm like, it's called entertainment, man. That's all I do. I just want to entertain.
So, King, you were on Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
This guy's saying, I like the way you destroy that guy on Jerry Springer. How long ago was that?
Back when Jerry Springer was
a thing.
was a major thing. And
Jesus Christ.
I got contacted by one of my neighbors where I live writes for the New York Post, and he was friends with the guy who runs the whole show. And he goes, "Hey, do you want to be celebrity security?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And then and I went there, and I'm telling you, that was the most fun. To this day, I still have people fuck bodybuilding. They'll say, "Oh man, I know you from Springer, man," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." But the end of, if you can catch it on YouTube, I think you can see it. The end of the show was the best part because Jerry said, "You're a natural with the camera." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't find it, I think it comes very natural to me. I'm okay in front of the camera." He goes, "Do you want to finish the show?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, usually when we run the credits, we do something. So think of something." And I looked around, I'm like, "What do you mean think of something?" So then out of the corner of my eye, I see a prosthetic leg. For some reason, they had a prosthetic leg backstage. So I grabbed one of the guys, one of the expediters, and I said, "Hey, listen, man, do me a favor. Tuck one of your legs in and put this prosthetic leg in your pants so it looks like a leg. And I'll do the rest." And he goes, "The fuck are you going to do?" I said, "Just leave it to me." And then after that, the camera came. And I remember Jerry standing in the background, and he was standing like this, just watching. And then I don't want to give it away, but let's just say I broke the leg, and I made it look like I was, and they put sound effects in, and everyone was dying backstage. And before I lost it, I said, "So don't be a little girl." And I walked off, and I'm cracking up myself. And Jerry looked at me. He goes, "That was the best ending we've ever had, bro." I was like, "Thank you."
Holy
shit. You can catch it on, YouTube it. It's on YouTube.
I'm going to ask you one more question because then it's, I don't want to go past, it's been over an hour. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm going to ask you one more question. You guys think Lee Priest is going to do the Masters Olympia because he's all over RX Muscle, and I think Chris Aceto's helping him, and Dave Palumbo, and so on and so forth?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
He's kicked out of the IFBB. How can he do the Masters Olympia?
Yes, that's still standing?
Yeah, still standing. He's a lifetime ban.
Oh, really? Oh, I
answer.
So it's all just fucking hearsay then. It's all.
I'll tell you who I think is going to do it.
Vinny Galante's definitely.
I think. I'll tell you right now. I will predict. This is my prediction. I think Dexter will come out of retirement and do it.
Really? You think so?
Yes.
Wow. No way.
Yeah,
really?
That's what my prediction is, because you can't take some. Bodybuilding is so deeply embedded in Dexter that I think that just the thought of coming back again and not having to be that crazy fucking ripped and big and full and all that stuff, but still be competitive, that might give him a little bit of urge to get back on stage. So I'll say maybe Dexter.
Hey, King, let me ask you, when you retired, you struggle with getting away at all?
Struggle with what?
With retiring, coming out of it, not competing.
You couldn't pay me enough money to get back on stage.
Yeah.
I would never, ever do it again.
What was your last year?
2008.
See, for me, that was the beginning of things, because they introduced the 202-pound class.
Right.
So I had reason to stay to keep it going. And I did 4 Olympias, But that's my point. How many Olympias?
I did 4.
You did 4. So I did 4. So for me, I was always a competitor, my whole life before bodybuilding. So I found it a little difficult not competing anything. Even training, you feel like you're training for no purpose. What am I training for? I'm not, So I kind of struggled for a little while. No, not bad. Not like I was out at a bar or drowning my sorrows. But
I bet you it's more common than not. It's got.
I believe it is. But and I know a lot of professional athletes in other areas that struggle with, and they feel they need to go back. And Vinny, God bless him, dude. But the guy, he's going to do it, until they roll him out. I think it just takes something in you to realize it's over, it's done. And I never went back. That's why I know you didn't. And I don't regret not going back. And I have no urge to do it again. Especially my final year, I was done. But not having that anymore, especially, dude, we were at the highest level of our game, dude, for years. And to go from that to relatively, just running business.
No, dude, that's why Floyd Mayweather still fights schleps over in Dubai because what is he gonna it's the nature of an elite athlete that they can't let go of. Evander Holyfield started boxing at 8 years old. 8, and now at 40 something years old, he can't do it anymore. What do you do? George Foreman had the same problem. I mean, it is what a Sugar Ray Leonard.
But you can't compare bodybuilding to any other sport.
Okay.
Because bodybuilding is the most unforgiving sport on the planet because it's what we look like that counts. It's not shooting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It's not shooting a bucket. It's not hitting a golf ball. It's not running. It's not nothing. It's how we look. And that's what hurts. So retirement I understand exactly what Jason's talking about. It's so hard. It is so, we all go through a period of depression. We all do. But unlike many of my peers, I kept going. I did not stop. I still do what I do. I still walk into a gym and people look at me, holy shit, and all. I still have that. Not ever going to go back to get back on stage again because if I did, and this is just being completely honest, I would die. I know I would. Right. That's what makes me put all that aside. Because I know right now when my weight gets above 260 pounds, I don't feel good.
Right.
I don't. And I remember being 280, 290 pounds, walking around like this, and everybody's, oh, you're huge. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you say you're huge. Now I get a kick out of 20-year-olds hitting on me. That's what I get a kick out of. Then somebody telling me, dude, you're a monster. Okay, great. I still like that 20-year-old over there hitting on me because she still thinks I'm a fucking hot. That's what I get off now.
I don't get any 20-year-olds hitting on me.
I get plenty.
Oh, Jesus. I love and hate you guys at the same time.
I got a wife and kids upstairs. I'm not saying anything.
I'm single, man. I'm single. I'm very single.
I'm married, but I would love to have a 20-year-old hit on me. I need clout. That's what I need. I need this podcast to blow up, and I'll have clout like you guys, and that'll happen. All right, let's see. I'm going to share this screen one more time, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Let's see. Chrome tab. Here we go. Share. And then, okay, here we go. So once again, I Prevail subs. We're going to be having a commercial come out. I'm going to be the star of the fucking commercial, apparently.
Only you.
And this is going to be the product of Serious and Silliness podcast YouTube channel.
Use your code.
That's right. So anybody who wants great product, go to I Prevail Subs, this website that you're looking at right now, and get 10% off if you use SNS10. And when Jay makes a lot of money and my podcast blows up and I start making money too, I promise that I will donate all the money to large-breasted prostitutes and entrepreneurs on 125th Street named Diego.
They need help too. They need help too.
Yeah, absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate it greatly. King, you are the fucking man. I appreciate it. This is the second time you're on, and the second time I asked you. You are the
my
fucking
pleasure, man.
Thank you.
My
So,
pleasure.
Jason Arntz, you were a guy I looked up to, and now we're like partners. Who would have thought?
And we text each other all day. It's great.
Yeah, we're like buddies now. It's fucking awesome.
Hey,
Like,
Jay, listen, dude. You were the first person I thought of for tonight. You know, when he asked who you want to have on together. But
Appreciate
dude, great to see you again. Dude, I got the Muscle Beach, July 30th. If you have any athletes, bring them in. Dude, you're comped as usual for anything.
Absolutely. Now that you told me that, absolutely, I'll send some people over.
Always good to see you and catch up with you, dude.
Jay, I want to have a booth there too. Actually, I'm gonna. You want to have a booth?
Absolutely, I'll send people, Jay. 100%.
With all my shirts.
There you go.
There we go.
He's gonna have porn stars working the booth.
I hope so. All right, fellas. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys. Peace.
Take care.